be getting organized very soon. Just let me get, oh, Jesus. Okay, meditation's coming. It seems very bright. So let me turn that down a bit. Okay. Right, meditation's coming. I just have to do a few little things first. Okay, beautiful. I just turned it off. Okay, great. Now, if you're on Facebook, I'll be with you in one sec. I got to turn it off and turn it on again on Facebook, just to stop that. Still looking pretty bright. No, it's all right. Meditation's coming. Okay. How are you? How's the day going? Going well? I hope it's going well. It's all right if it's not. Not every day is going to be great. We're going to do a bit of meditation. This isn't a class. It's just a chance to meditate together. It's part of the further emergence work I do. I'll explain all about further emergence when we're finished the meditation. But for now, if you're an experienced meditator, if you're used to it, if you're experienced, that's brilliant. Can you hang on for a minute while I explain what I do, just for the benefit of people who are new to meditation? There's lots of different styles of meditation. This is what I do. For me, it always starts with why I would meditate. I'm trying to connect to a part of me that I connect to every night when I sleep. And not the dreaming bit, the bit after dreaming. The deep dreamless sleep. You know, I'm dreaming and then I drop out the bottom of dreaming into deep dreamless sleep, where I have no thoughts, no memories, no feelings, no emotions. I've got no body really. I've got no bed or bedroom, or everything just disappears. I even disappear, meaning I cease to exist in the way that I normally know that I'm existing. Which, you know, when you add all that up, that sounds terrible, doesn't it? It sounds like death. And yet, I love going to sleep. And when I wake up in the morning, I feel refreshed. So some part of me knows that wherever I go to in that deep, mysterious place, that it's good. And that's where I want to connect to. That's the part I want to connect to when I meditate. I just want to do it consciously. So straight away, if you're new to meditation, don't try and do this lying down, because you'll fall asleep. Or if you don't fall asleep, you'll battle sleep, both of which are counter to what you're trying to do. So yeah, sit up. You don't have to sit in a lotus position or anything like that, unless you're comfortable sitting in a lotus position, which is fine. I'm just sitting in a chair. If you're going to sit in a chair, make sure it's not a big comfy armchair that you'll fall asleep in. You'll just be into that whole side of things again. So as I said, there's no thoughts. My mind can't seem to get to this place. So I have to figure out a way of working with my mind. So what I do is I just make an arrangement with my mind where I say, could you just not think for the next 15 minutes because I want to meditate. Now at this stage my mind is on board because I've been meditating for years. Having your mind on board is important. It's very helpful. So find a way to get your mind on board. If it's the first time you're meditating, your mind is definitely going to be on board because it's a new thing. The resistance can come with trying to have a long-term meditation practice. So having your mind on board, very helpful. Okay, so my mind's on board. Great. Next thing, stop thinking. That's actually not as hard as it sounds. It's not that hard to stop. Because regardless of what I'm thinking about, which would be the content of my thought, the structure of my thought, it's always the same. It's always pictures and sound. So if I turn off the pictures and I turn off the sound, that's it. I'm not thinking. And as soon as I do that, I'm into the practice of meditation. Now the practice of meditation runs parallel to the intention of meditation. So my intention is, as I said, to go to this deep, mysterious, profound, still, calm, trying to think of all the other words they use to describe meditation. Zen-like. That's my intention, to go to that place. The practice of meditation runs parallel with it, and it starts as soon as I stop thinking. And it pretty much goes, I turn off the pictures, I turn off the sound, bring myself to not thinking. Then some time will pass and I'll discover I'm thinking again. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm thinking again. So turn off the pictures, turn off the sound, bring myself back to not thinking. Then some more time will pass and I'll discover I'm thinking again. I'm like, okay, thinking again. Turn off the pictures, turn off the sound, bring myself back to not thinking. Then some more time will pass, I'll discover I'm thinking again, and so on. It's very simple. Every time you discover that you're thinking, you bring yourself back to not thinking. And I highlight that point to just counteract any misconception that to meditate properly you can't be thinking, okay? It doesn't work like that. These two things go together, the intention and the practice, you know, and they sort of do a little dance. Sometimes you'll be very still and peaceful and calm. Other times you'll be discovering that you're thinking. And both are powerful in their own way. It's kind of obviously powerful when you're in that deep, still, profound place. You can feel it in your nervous system. Everything starts to settle. It's beautiful. It's also powerful when you're discovering that you're thinking. It's just a bit more subtle, the power of it. Because what happens is, if you're like me, the sort of things that you think about are all kind of related to you. So I'll be thinking, oh, what am I going to do about that thing? Why did I say that to that person? Why did that person say that to me? And so on and so forth. Now, if I'm in the middle of meditation and I'm in the middle of one of those kind of thoughts, and I go, oh, I'm thinking, turn off the pictures, turn off the sound, bring myself back to not thinking. Indirectly, what I'm saying to myself is, you know that thought that you were just thinking, that you thought was you and that you were it? Well, you just made that disappear. You just made it like, poof, gone. So you're obviously not that thought. In fact, you're not any of your thoughts. You're something else. So that's very powerful. And then the fact that you do that repeatedly is very powerful as well. So the main thing to get is that there's no right amount of times that you should be bringing yourself back from thinking, because it changes. It changes from day to day, hour to hour. You could meditate in the morning and you might only have to bring yourself back from thinking a few times. Then you could meditate in the afternoon and you'd have to bring yourself back loads of times. And one is no better than the other. There's no right amount of times. The only thing is that you have to do in the practice of meditation is every time you discover that you're thinking, bring yourself back to not thinking. If you do that, you're doing great. Now, while all that is all going on, I'm also becoming a little bit more aware of my body, how my body is, and any tension that's in my body. And I have a system for that. I scan my body from my head down to my feet very slowly, very gently, and back up again. And I keep going up and down like that. And anywhere I find tension, I let it go. And I use my out breath to let it go, you know. And I do that for two reasons. One, it's natural to just breathe it away. But the other reason is it helps me become a bit more conscious of my breathing, because you might find this strange if you're new to meditation, but it's actually quite easy to hold your breath during meditation or to stop breathing altogether. So using my out breath is just a nice way of bringing my attention to my breathing, and just helps me keep it going and not hold it in any way. The other thing I do is as I'm scanning my body up and down, I spend a little bit more time on any structures in my body that go across my body. Mostly my body runs longitudinally. Most of the structures in my body go longitudinally. Anywhere that goes across has a little bit of a tendency to accumulate tension. A little bit like a log going across a stream, you know, it picks up all the leaves and the twigs and the branches, except in my body, that's tension. So I'm spending a little bit more time on my eyes, that's a transverse site, my jaw, my tongue, the base of my neck, my shoulder girdle, all my joints, they're transverse sites as well. So shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingers, my heart area, my respiratory diaphragm, all my intestines, my pelvic floor, my hips, my knees, my ankles and my toes. Having a nice quiet room is really helpful if you're starting out meditation, because one of the things that triggers thoughts is little noises, little or big noises. And as soon as you close your eyes to meditate, your hearing's going to amplify. So the quieter the room, where you're not disturbed, the easier it is for your mind to have less things to think about. And then the other thing I do to help my mind have less things to think about is I set a timer for how long I'm going to meditate for. Now I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes, but if you're new to meditation, I'd encourage you to set yours for 5 minutes and then repeat that 3 times, because 15 minutes is a long time if you're not used to it. All right, now just let me see if there are any questions. No, nothing on Facebook, no, nothing on YouTube. Great, okay. Okay, off we go into the mystery. Okay, if you feel like you've gone very deeply inside and you need to come back from that, then take the time you need to do that before you open your eyes. Or if you feel like you can hold the inner space and the outer space at the same time, then just open your eyes. And if when you do that you feel like you've lost connection with the inner space, then you can close your eyes again, reconnect. Oh yeah, there it is, open them again. No, lost it again. Close your eyes again, and so on, back and forth. You can use your eyes like a valve to balance the inner space and the outer space. As I said at the beginning, these meditations I do are part of the Further Emergence work. Further Emergence is to do with growth, inner growth, growth in consciousness. You could call it spiritual growth, growth in awareness, all that kind of growth. Because your body stops growing when you become an adult, but you keep growing on the inside. That just keeps happening. You only have to think back to, 10 years ago, the person you were 10 years ago, to see that you you keep growing. And just like when you were growing up as a kid, you might have had periods of accelerated growth, which are called growth spurts. If you don't remember that, you might, you see it with other kids. You see them 1 week and they're this height, and then you see them 2 weeks later and they've jumped an inch or two. So it's kind of the same on the inside. You go through periods of accelerated growth or inner growth spurts, and that's what Further Emergence kind of focuses on. Because when you were a kid and you were having a growth spurt, it's not like you were rushed to the hospital, or you were even brought to the doctor. If you had growing pains, you would have just said to your parents, "Oh, what's wrong?" And they would have said, "Oh, it's just a growth spurt, it'll pass." But it's harder with inner growth spurts, particularly as you get older, because it can feel like there's something wrong. It can feel like it's not natural, and there's a lot of space to, wonder about it. So these meditations help because being familiar with your inner space helps to navigate these inner growth spurts. Also, there's a Zoom group every week. That's another thing to help with it. That's a chance to meditate a little more deeply, and to ask questions and get feedback. Because I've been through it myself many times, and I've helped lots of people through it. So the Zoom groups help for that. It's also good to see that there are other people going through something similar to you. Because one of the things about going through these inner growth spurts is it can be quite isolating, because you can go from one day your life works, everything fits, it's all great, and then almost overnight nothing fits, you don't fit, everybody doesn't get you, you don't really get everybody anymore. It can feel very isolating. So yeah, the Zoom groups are good for that. And the Zoom groups are open to everyone, so if you want to come along to one, you're very welcome. You'll find the link, the Zoom link, on the website furtheremergence.com. Just look for Zoom groups, you'll find it. They're on Fridays, so tomorrow at 8 o'clock Irish time. If you want to see what they're like, you can look on whatever channel you're looking at this on. If you look down through the feed, you'll see videos from previous Zoom groups. Or there's the audio from the Zoom groups go to make up the podcast, the Further Emergence podcast, so you can see what they're like that way as well. The other thing I do is I work with people one-to-one. I do that 2 days on 2 different days, Tuesday, Thursday. So today is one of the days I was working with people. And that's a combination of talking it through, reflection. It's more obviously specific. So there's a bit of there's that portion, and then there's behind the scenes work where the person lies down and I do energetic work on their system to help their system as well. What else? There's a couple of books. I've written 4 books all around the subject of Further Emergence in one way or another. So yeah, there's all that there to help. So if you're still with me, if you've listened all the way to the end, maybe something's ringing a bell, maybe something going, there's something to this, or resonates with you in some way or another. So I would let that, whatever it is that's drawn you to it, let that, continue to communicate to you and give you an indication of what way you want to keep involved, whether it's just doing the meditations, whether you want to come to a Zoom group, whether you want to watch the Zoom group, maybe listen to a podcast, maybe read a book, maybe get in touch for some one-to-one work, whatever. That voice will or that sense of things will guide you. So thanks very much for meditating with me. and see you tomorrow for some more meditation. Bye.